Well, hey everybody, and welcome to the live show a couple of minutes late. I just did 3 minutes in my office by myself without hitting the button to actually make it go live, so dumb me. So as everybody starts to load up, I just give you a little update on what's going on over the next few weeks. So after today's show, no show for 2 weeks. This coming weekend, I'm heading, a week from now, I'm heading away with the family on spring break on the west coast of Canada here. We get 2 weeks for spring break. Most other places only get a week, so we're heading off to Arizona where it's going to be sunny and hot, so that will be good. And then I get back the following Saturday, and then the Sunday when we typically do the show, I fly to Germany with Mercedes-Benz. So that should be a lot of fun. Then I'm going to be home for about a week after Mercedes-Benz, and then I go to China for the Shanghai show. So I just want to take a second here and make sure that everything is actually working here now. Yeah, it says we're going. All right, so we'll let people load up. So sorry about that. I made a technical mistake. This week, if you live in British Columbia, the Vancouver International Auto Show is underway. Great thing about our local show here in Vancouver, the location is second to none, absolutely beautiful, right down at the convention center, looking over Vancouver's harbor. And it's sort of like the end of the run for auto shows. So all of the vehicles that were shown at LA, Detroit, Toronto, Montreal will end up here in Vancouver. So that's good. So that's what's going on. So yeah, it looks like we're up and running. Got everybody loading up now. My bad. This week I'm also going to go to California to drive the Mazda 3. That's the all-wheel drive version. The video will be coming out this coming Saturday. There's an embargo, which means everybody gets to do their videos and their pictures and their stories and publish them all on one day. Nobody gets an advantage. So that video will be coming out next Saturday for the Mazda 3. All right, let's get into the questions. Gordon Freeman says, hi, Zach, just one question about the industry. With so much do-it-yourselfers on the rise, do you think it's worth it to be a professional auto tech these days? I would suggest it's pretty much entirely the 180 degrees the opposite. Cars are becoming basically rolling computers, and you need to have a lot of specialized technical knowledge and tools and factory-trained technicians. So, yeah, there's some guy who can do it himself sort of projects, but to really find out the diagnostics of a car, that's where the factory training comes in. So no, it's the exact opposite. In fact, if you're somebody who's technologically minded and mechanically minded and you're looking for a career, they are dying for technicians in the auto industry. And you could have a really nice long career working for a specific brand. Say you wanted to be a BMW master technician. Well, they would start you and work you through until you became that person, or Porsche, or whomever it is. They're dying to get people into the industry because people who are technologically advanced, people who are mechanically minded, all those sorts of things have lots of options open to them, and the auto industry is starving to get people, and they need them because cars are more and more advanced. Just think about electrics and hybrids and hydrogen cars that are all coming down the road. Next question. Hey, Zach, what do you think of the X2 M35 for a couple with a kid on the way living in Toronto? My wife and I enjoy sports cars. I think that you could do a kid car seat in the back. I think the X1 is probably a better shape. I know it doesn't have the sexier looking cropped roof, but trust me, getting kids in and out of the back seat and car seats and strollers and all that kind of stuff, you're going to get pretty much the same driving dynamics and feel from the X1 to the X2. It's just going to be more functional. So yeah, you could do it. What you need to do is, the best advice I can give you is whatever the car seat is that you're going to be using for the kid before the kid arrives, take it to the BMW dealer and put it in the back seat and see for yourself how much room there is and how much space you need to get in and out. And you'd be surprised how much car seats take an enormous amount of space. Kids are tiny, but the seats are huge. What do you think of the Tesla Model Y? Well, the stock market sure didn't like it, and a lot of analysts didn't like it. They were kind of underwhelmed by it. Here's the thing is, Elon Musk has a history of promising and then figuring out how to deliver. So the Model Y is a reaction. They've said it's coming for a long time, but now they're saying it's going to be coming at the end of 2020. So basically 2 years from now. And Tesla also has a long history of over-promising and under-delivering when it comes to timelines. This is all in light of the Geneva Motor Show. I was there. I did a quick little video on it. Audi is coming out with a smaller e-tron. It's called the Q4. They will make it. They will deliver it on time. I did an interview. I was at the e-tron event in Abu Dhabi when we got to go there in, I think it was November. And I asked the project manager, the person that's in charge of the whole project from beginning to end to keep it on schedule. I said, from what your projections were to deliver this car to market, how late were you? How many extra weeks did it take? Or months or whatever. He said we were 2 weeks late. 2 weeks, okay? That's a rounding error. Tesla, on the other hand, has been months, if not years late when it came to the Model X. So yeah, people love these cars. I don't get them. I don't like, I think styling wise, I think this is the best looking Tesla they've come out with. The styling doesn't do anything for me. I've been on record many, many times. I don't like their interiors. I think they're really cheap. So yeah, this is in light of all of the competition that's coming onto the marketplace. And you get vehicles like Volkswagen is going to be coming out with their ID Cross that's going to be coming into the North American market probably before this car arrives. So lots of competition. The stock market reacted and sold off Tesla in a big way when they announced the vehicle. Michael says Nautilus versus Murano versus RDX. Nautilus, don't love the interior. I just got to say, you know, they've done a good job at Lincoln of updating their exterior on that particular model, which used to be the MKX, built on the Ford Edge platform. So everything is nice, except for the interior has that cheap plastic center console with the push buttons. I don't like that. Murano is now an older car. It's very soft and comfortable. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's laid back, and there is a video on the channel for that. And basically the whole idea of that car is a very stylish looking vehicle that's really comfortable and easy to drive. The RDX, on the other hand, is much more dynamic to drive. It's got a powerful turbo 4-cylinder engine. It's got the 10-speed automatic transmission. You can get it with the A-Spec with their bigger wheels. It's a little bit more sporty. So yeah, I think that the Nautilus is just a refresh of an older product. Murano is really quite old now. They're going to be coming out with an updated version, which is laid back, and the RDX is the sportiest of the bunch. You have to drive, you have to decide what you are. Are you laid back and relaxed? Well, Murano might be the way to go. But try them. See what you think. Bryce writes back and says, some in BC only get 1 week off for spring break. Or, yeah, here in the Vancouver area, we get 2. All right, Peak Time Racing, your thoughts on the Mazda 3, also the Mazda 6, dead. No, the Mazda 6 not dead. They injected some life into it by coming with the, with the turbo engine, and the turbo engine is great. I think now that Altima's come with all-wheel drive, there's going to be maybe a push from other brands to do that. We have Accord and Camry, and then there's everybody else. Like, the sales numbers are so far ahead for those 2 cars, for Accord and Camry, even though it's a shrinking category altogether. Is it dead? I don't think so, but no, not big numbers. And the new Mazda 3, I got to tell you, with the hatchback, I don't love the looks of it. I mean, a lot of people think it looks fantastic. I don't love it. A, B, C pillar, the big swooping round one at the back, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to drive it this week. There will be a video out on Saturday, which is the all-wheel drive version. The actual regular front-wheel drives are at the dealers, and I'm seeing them on the street now. Mario says, any chance an Accord Wagon coming to Canada? No, there's no chance of that. We had the TSX rumored to be coming as a wagon, and it never really happened. The thing is with I saw a TSX yesterday. A woman was driving down the street as I was walking the dog, and I was like, that was such a great car. It is a great car. If you're looking for a good used car, that's the European Honda Accord. Nice compact size, fun to drive, noisy. The only thing about it is the engine is noisy, and it's really noisy on the highway. But you know what? A lot of fun to drive. I wish we could get those derivatives here, but I don't think there's any appetite for a station wagon from Honda. Hey Zach, when you are on trips to test new cars, do you get time to write the script before you record the videos? All right, here's the way I do it, okay? And I'm unlike a lot of people. A lot of people have a real hard time with this. I've been a professional broadcaster for, what year is it? I started broadcasting in 1984, okay? So I've been doing this a long, I've been on the radio since 1984. So I've been doing this a long time. I make on my phone, in the presentation, I just write down point form, all the things that I want to touch on, outside, inside, horsepower, engine specs, and all that kind of stuff. And when I record, it's all off the top of my head. You might not believe that when you watch it, but yeah, when I do my intro and I do my in-car and all the videos that you see, I just do it off the top of my head. I might do 2 takes. Usually I do it in 1 take. Sometimes I do it in 2 takes. Not the in-car when I'm driving, but the actual stand-up in front of the car. I do that in, sometimes I check, make sure the audio is okay, stuff like that. A car will drive by, jet will fly overhead. I have to do it a couple of times. Usually when I do it the second time, it's better. But yeah, no, I don't write anything down. I don't, if I forget something and then later when I'm editing it, I might do a quick little voiceover, like I might forget the fuel economy or something like that. I'll do it as a voiceover, but no, I pretty much do it off the top of my head in kind of 1 take. Mike C, hey Zach, kind of like I do here. Like, I mean, I don't know what the questions are. I'm giving you my unfiltered take on this as it comes to my mind. Would you buy a CRV or a RAV4? Kidding. Have you seen the Formula One show on Netflix? Yes, I'm at episode 8. It's so well done. And now, as somebody who has been in, you know, TV, radio, and all those sorts of things, if you haven't seen this, I'm trying to remember what the name of it is. It's on my computer. Hang on a second. I'm going to open it up. What's it called again? It's called The Drive to Survive. Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. And you should watch it, The Drive to Survive on Netflix. So that is a really good show. And what I will say is why it is so good is because they have the audio is being sweetened. So when the car is going around and they hit the rumble strip, that sound you hear was not recorded actually from the camera and the microphone in the camera. It's all done post-production. And all of those crashes are all, you know, it's sound engineering is basically what it is. And it's absolutely brilliant. What they've done with that show is just so well. And the access, like I've never ever seen access granted in Formula One like that. Like it's usually such a closed off shop, and they don't let anybody record like that. That's what I think is fantastic. Okay, sorry, I'm going between pages here. All right, so yeah, if you haven't seen it, you need to do it and watch it. It's just fantastic. What changes would you like to see for the 2020 MDX? Well, I think it's pretty self-evident what's going to happen. By the way, Andrea and I just put a video out yesterday. So the whole take on the video was, why is the MDX a bestseller? So the MDX is the best-selling premium mid-size 3-row SUV of all time. Now, one of the great advantages is that the oh hi Andrea, is that the MDX was the first mid-size to come standard with 3 rows of seats. So all of those years they've been making it only with 3 rows of seats. So that's one of the reasons why it's the best seller. Now, and you live in certain neighborhoods with certain demographics and incomes, this thing is everywhere. So that was the reason why we got it, and to show it and to say, why is this so popular? But just look at the RDX. That's what's going to happen. They're going to have, I don't think they're going to change the engine. I think it's still going to be the 3.5 liter. I don't think they're going to go to a smaller turbocharged engine. I think they're going to stick with that. They're going to go probably to the 10-speed automatic transmission. They might come out with a turbo, smaller engine. I don't think they will. They're going to update the interior for the most part. That's the area where a lot of people want to see, you know, a single screen with the trackpad, kind of like the RDX, maybe modification of that, but that's where I think it's going. Best family car under $35,000 with all-wheel drive. So car, I'm assuming you're thinking sedan. I think the best all-wheel drive car under $35,000, I mean, you could go Legacy, you could go the new Nissan Altima, you could go with some used cars, but yeah, if you could give me more information. If you want an SUV, you want a car, what are you looking for? Manveer says, want to sit in the new 3 Series at the auto show, maybe see you and say hello. Well, unfortunately, you're not going to see the new 3 Series because BMW has taken a pass on the auto show this year, which is too bad. And that happens from time to time. A brand will not do the auto show, then they come back, and BMW's out this year. Hi, Zach. I'm ending my lease on a BMW 330 this summer and was wondering if it would be getting pleasurable driving experience with a GTI manual. Which car would you consider to be the purest? Well, I'm ending my lease in the 330. A pleasurable driving experience with a GTI. Yeah, I think it's a good car. It's a purist in the sense that it is a front-wheel drive hot hatch. So the GTI was the original hot hatch, was the original front-wheel drive fun car. So all of that remains. Now, are you getting it? Yeah, you're getting it with a manual. It's a very different experience. If you're coming from a 330 that was rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, but it certainly is a rear-wheel drive bias, and then going to a front-wheel drive car, it's a different driving experience. In my opinion, I think the GTI is more fun to drive than the Golf R. The Golf R certainly has the horsepower advantage, but for everyday situations, you can have so much fun with that car. So go and drive one and take it out for a spin. It isn't going to be like your BMW. It's going to be different, but it is one of those cars where the more you drive it and the more you learn how to drive it properly and get the most out of it, it's a very rewarding car to drive. So you will have lots of fun with it. Hi, Zach. I read the BMW X3 sales are down 31% same time last year in Canada. Is the market turning away from luxury SUVs? No. I would suspect that there's probably some kind of supply constraint for that. The vehicles are made in the United States and sold around the world. There could be a situation where that's the case. Now, I don't know. I saw that headline as well, and I didn't dig into it that much more because I don't think that's really something that's a long-term trend for BMW. So the new X3 is a better vehicle than the old one. I think that BMW has an amazing way of boosting sales when they need to. They can put low interest rates, some kind of incentives on the car, and get them going. I would think it's probably the vehicle has just come out in the last little while, and it might just be supply constrained. We'll have to see over the long run, but no, luxury SUV sales are absolutely on fire. Hi, Zach, just arrived from March break cruise with the family. Nice. Drove from Toronto to Miami and back on our XT5. We really love it. Hey, good for you. It's a nice, comfortable car, and Cadillac is one of my favorite brands. I think it's a brand that doesn't get a lot of attention by a certain segment of the market who just turn up their nose because it's a domestic luxury brand. But I got to tell you, you should do yourself a favor and drive a Cadillac once in a while. They actually are doing some things right. Derek is from Australia, says, we now have 10-speed automatics. When will it stop? Yeah, I mean, basically, that's where a continuously variable transmission actually wins if you're just going to straight fuel economy, because you can have a massive range of ratios in a continuously variable transmission. Some of them are rewarding to drive, some are not. Some brands do it very well, some do not. But yeah, I think 10 speeds is a good number, but it's the processing and the computer and the transmission module that makes all the difference, because you can drive. I'll give you a perfect example of the ZF 9-speed. So Land Rover uses it, Acura uses it, Chrysler uses it. It's used a lot through the entire industry. And when you drive a car with the ZF 9-speed by one brand and then another, it can be like night and day. For example, the MDX with the 9-speed, when it first came out in the MDX and the Pilot, it was terrible. The programming was just absolutely terrible. But now, driving this past week or so, it was absolutely flawless. They did a great job. So yeah, I don't know how many more gears they can put in. We'll have to wait and see. 10 seems like a big number though. What do you think of the Ford Edge ST? Do you think it will sell? I am getting it, I think, in a few weeks or so, maybe a month. I'm looking forward to driving it. Those colleagues of mine who have driven it say it's fantastic. But yeah, I don't know. Like, My big problem with Ford is Ford has to invest some money in some new products when it comes to design on the inside, especially. So they're going to have a refreshed Ford Escape. I just got an invite today from Ford of Canada to go to Michigan and drive the Ford Escape. I think Mike's watching. We'll see if Mike can go down and do that. It's while I'm away on spring break. So yeah, but apparently it's not going to be really any different. That vehicle needed to be done like yesterday, and it needs to be bigger, and the same thing with the Ford Edge. The interiors of their cars, in my opinion, they look terrible, and they need to do something about it. Why don't more cars come with heated and cooled cup holders? It's been a feature limited to certain cars for nearly a decade now. I love it. I first had a chance to use the heated and cooled drink holders in the Mercedes-Benz GLE. We went on the GLE launch in Newfoundland, and we flew into St. John's, Newfoundland, and drove up to Gander to go to Fogo Island, which is amazing part of Canada if you ever get a chance to go to Newfoundland. And it had the heated cup holders, and I got my big Starbucks and I stuck it in there. It was about a 3.5 hour drive, sipping my coffee. It stayed warm. It's awesome. I'd like to have it in my car. I agree with you. And I said when I reviewed it, I said, this is something I think is going to spread through the industry. And I believe on the Mercedes and the other brands that have it, it is optional. But yeah, I think it'll probably come. Hi, Zach. Audi sales have been down so far for 2019. Why are they waiting so long to release models like the Q3? They have no current entry luxury SUV. Well, everything is planned. I mean, this is the thing that you can say, oh, they should bring it. But they actually do have plans, and they stick to the plans. You know, Audi I've already had a chance to drive it. I drove it in September in Italy. The video is on the channel. It's a great looking SUV. I think in the compact premium SUV space, it's going to be the Q3 and the XC40 from Volvo are the two, in my opinion, to beat. So they said it's coming in the second quarter of 2019. Well, we're just finishing the first quarter this week. Spring is arriving on Thursday. Then we're heading into the second quarter. So within the next 3 months, the Q3 will start to be arriving at dealerships. They have a plan and they stick with it. That's the nice thing about big brands is when they say they're going to do something, they typically follow through. There were some hiccups recently with Volkswagen getting cars certified for emissions around the world. The Arteon is a perfect example. It was supposed to be out before Christmas and it's just arriving now. So there can be delays because of that, but the car is coming. And here's the thing is, Audi has no problem selling the current Q3 that's now an old product. So yeah, they throw some incentive on it, they throw on reduced interest rates, and they sell a whole bunch of them before the new Q3 arrives. And that's all profit because that car is old now. Like, I mean, that's the old Tiguan platform. Bruce says, is Audi All4 Allroad a good comparative to the Volvo V60 Cross Country and Volkswagen Alltrack? Well, the A4 is a wonderful, wonderful car. Now, don't think it's on the same platform as the Volkswagen Golf, even though it's part of the, you know, the Volkswagen group. It's on MQB, and the A4 is not. The Volvo V60, I think that you're going to have. That's a tough one. So Volkswagen, yeah, that's a nice car, but it isn't a premium brand, and it doesn't have the same kind of horsepower. Okay, so you've got the regular 170 horsepower, basically 1.8 liter that you get in the Golf line, except for the base model Golfs. And then you have the V60 with 316 horsepower if you get the T6, and the A4 you can get is 252 horsepower. But for me, it comes down to the MMI system, the controls, the screen, and all of that, in my opinion, is between the Volvo and the Audi. The Audi is the winner based on the interior MMI system. I like the Volvo, and I did a review of the Volvo S60, and I thought it was good, but I'm not as big a fan of their touchscreen system as I am of the MMI system. So take that for what it is. Go and drive them, see which one you like. But if you're looking at a budget version of those, then the Alltrack is a fantastic choice. Aaron says, hey, Zach, thank you for asking the questions. How well do the Hyundai Palisade will do? Looks nice and big compared to the 3-row for families that are big like mine. I think it's going to do fine. Anything SUV is selling. So you got the Palisade, and you've also got the Telluride from the Kia side. And I saw the Kia on Thursday. I got to get in it and sit in it in a pre-production model just before the auto show. And they did a beautiful job. And that's the one thing I say, you need to do yourself a favor. If you have not sat in one of the higher trim versions of a Kia or a Hyundai product, go and sit in these cars and take your bias away, cover the logo in your mind on the steering wheel, and just look at those interiors. They are first rate. They are putting some great looking products together, nicely fitted products, and some of the higher trims of these models have beautiful Napa leather and open pore wood and all the stuff you get from luxury brands, but it's a value. So yeah, I think they're going to sell well. I think it's going to be interesting to see, you know, vehicles like the Sorrento versus the Telluride, which one's going to sell more, but we'll have to see. Yeah, I think they are going to sell. Hamid says, hello from Sydney, Australia. Are you aware there is another Motormouth on YouTube, Motormouth Arabia? What can I do? Good for him. Bob Hunter, I like the new Mazda 3, but I don't know if I should go with the Skyactiv-G or wait for the Skyactiv-X. Haven't driven that Skyactiv-X. Highly technical. It's hard to explain how it even works. It's basically compression, spark, kind of like a diesel engine, well, just like a diesel engine. So we'll have to wait. And apparently you get, I think, 17% or something like that, improved fuel economy. So yeah, we'll have to wait. I haven't driven it. I have to go into a deep dive with Mazda when they have an event to find out exactly how it all works and what the benefits are. But if you're not in a rush, wait, because it will be coming. It will be coming. Bryce says, you're going to redo the Audi e-tron when it's released in Canada. I gotta say, it seems you get way more for your money compared to the other EV crossovers. Well, it's not cheap, man. It's expensive. I mean, here's the thing is, electric cars are disproportionately way more expensive than their gasoline counterparts. So yeah, the e-tron is slightly bigger than a Q5. And what is a Q5? You get a nicely equipped Q5 for 50 grand. That is twice as much. So yeah, you got to really want to have an electric car. And here's the thing about electric cars, for the most part, they're status symbols. Tesla is proof of that, is that the people who buy Teslas like the status. And a big part of owning a Tesla is so you can say to your friends and flex and say, I got a Tesla. Because it sure isn't all about saving the environment, because if you've got your 150,000 Tesla Model S parked in front of your 7,000 square foot house and you take the family on 4 vacations a year flying in jets, well, that's not really environmentally friendly, is it? It's really all about being seen to be driving the coolest, newest thing. So that's the thing about people who want to have the very first electric cars. A lot of times it's just, I'm the one who's going to have it first, but people are paying dearly to have this technology. I'm a wait and see kind of person. I honestly think, and this is the absolute truth, the vast majority of people would be much better served just buying a hybrid car or a plug-in hybrid car. Going full battery electric, people buy way more battery than they actually need on a day-to-day basis. You're lugging around big, heavy, very expensive batteries and harmful to the environment to produce, and you're not even using that range, and they're very, very expensive. A plug-in hybrid would say that, I think the sweet spot for a plug-in hybrid would be like 80 kilometers of electric range, so the vast majority of people could drive to and from work and just run on electric. If you needed the extra range, you could go 500 to 700 kilometers on the extended range with a gasoline engine. It's the best of both worlds. People have it in their head, I'm going from a gas to a full electric, and I think that's totally, people are overspending. What they should be buying are plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, getting the best of both, and when the technology matures more and the prices come down, then you might want to go full battery electric. But I think people are spending way too much on electric cars right now. I really do. It's like, I would not spend $100,000 on an electric car. I wouldn't, because just like my phone, it'll be obsolete in a few years. All right, that's that rant done. Manny Media Tech, hey Zach, can you tell me why my 2014 BMW X5 with 43,000 kilometers has lost so much value since purchase 1.5 years ago? Now I'm about $10,000 negative. What do you recommend I should do? I want to get rid of it. Well, sell it. I mean, cars depreciate. A car, like this car is 5 years old. I mean, it's not going to hold its value. It's going to depreciate. And typically, you know, expensive, the bigger the more expensive the original German sedan or whatever it was, was to purchase, the faster they fall. A base model 3 Series depreciates way less than a 7 Series BMW. A 7 Series BMW goes like this from the day you buy it. A 3 Series has a sort of gentle glide path. Now you might have, I'm not sure which X5 you have, but if you have the V8 equipped X5, that's not what people are looking for. So yes, vehicles depreciate. I had a 7 Series years ago, and it was depreciating $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month. So what you can do, I'm not sure if you're in Canada or not, but if you go to CanadianBlackBook.com, you can go into their calculator and project future depreciation, okay? It's a horrible graph to look at because they all go down. So go to CanadianBlackBook.com and look at a vehicle that you're considering purchasing, new or used, and it will have a projected depreciation curve. So if you don't like the fact that this thing's lost 10K, get rid of it. Get something else. Get something that's unique, something that people are shopping for. I mean, X5 is a fine car, but as German cars come out of warranty, they're not as desirable. What are your thoughts on the new Model Y? I already talked about that. I think it's probably the best looking Tesla, which is even hard to say. I think their cars are, their styling does nothing for me. And that Model 3, I see them driving around all the time. They just look so inexpensive to me. The wheels look weird. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. This is still 2 years away. Late 2020 is when it's projected to come, which means in Elon Musk talk, not 2020, more like 2021. Mazda 6 doesn't have all-wheel drive, and talking to my local dealer, he says they aren't moving. Well, the Mazda 6 didn't sell. I mean, the old one didn't sell. They came up with a new one, and why did they think it's going to sell better? I don't know. I mean, it's really not. I mean, it's a nice-looking car. It's a nice driving car, nice interior. It's got the turbo engine. People aren't buying sedans. They're just not. And if they are, they're buying a Accord or a Camry. That's what they're buying. Was considering a Tesla for my next car, just came back from the Tesla store, and I will move away from it. We'll wait for Audi's e-tron or Infinity's new electric QX inspiration. Here's my advice. I get this all the time about electric cars. There is no rush to buy an electric car. Think about how many electric cars there have been introduced in the last year. It's very, very slow. We're at the very beginning. There's a mountain we're going to climb, and we're at the very first steps of the mountain. There's many more steps to go. There are so many new products that are going to be introduced. There's so many advancements in terms of making batteries, reducing costs, making them more mainstream. These manufacturers have committed to be producing millions of electric cars by 2025. So just keep driving the car you've got, because every year that goes by, there's going to be more options for you, and hopefully more price parity and more competition. So I'm going to go back, buy a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle as your stopgap until you want to go full electric. I wouldn't be buying an electric car right now. There is no rush. There is going to be so many new products coming over the next 24 months. Sorry, I'm not sure exactly what that one. What are your thoughts on the C43 Estate? There's no real Canadian-based touring wagon of that performance available. I'm not sure what that means. What are your thoughts on the C43 wagon? There's no real other Canadian-based touring wagon of that performance available. Well, yeah, and here's the thing is, the C-Class wagon is fantastic. And then if you get the turbo 6-cylinder engine of it, even better. It's a great car, and it's a Canada exclusive. So yeah, it's a really cool car. The car to get is the E63 S-Wagon. Way too much money. Goes like a bomb. Sounds fantastic. Looks killer. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's probably a car that you could buy and lease for 3 or 4 years, or buy it in 3 or 4 years. I think it's going to hold its value because there's going to be so few of them sold new or leased new now. People who are looking for those in the used market in a few years are going to have to pony up to buy one. I think it's going to be a car that you could buy, enjoy, and retain some of its value. Different from the X5 we talked about a moment ago. There's a gajillion of those around. You always want to find something that's a little unique and rarer than everybody else, and that's what will serve you well. So yeah, I'm all down with that car. Do you think opting for Mazda 3 all-wheel drive will give me that much more traction on the road than a Civic? You keep mentioning that just having a good set of winter tires is all you need. Thoughts, please? Absolutely. All-wheel drive is going to get the power down to all 4 wheels. That's it. In some instances, you can get some torque vectoring where they adjust torque to certain wheels to help push you through the corners. But in the winter, the number one thing is a good set of tires. Number one. So if it's just off the line traction, yes, an all-wheel drive car will get the traction down to all four wheels. But in cornering and braking and steering, it's the tires that are doing the work. So if you have a front-wheel drive car with a good set of winter tires, then you're going to be just fine. If you want that little bit extra traction for launch, then the all-wheel drive is definitely advantageous. But yeah, number one thing with your car is winter tires, number one. And you can drive a two-wheel drive car in winter with good tires just fine. Fan from Dominican Republic, nice. Thanks for tuning in, appreciate it. Phantom Opera, hey Zach, do you think the Jetta GLI is going to be a hit? Trying to decide if I should go give up my Countryman S for it. Well, that's a very different product. There is a ride and drive of the GLI next week, but I'm going to be away on spring break, and it's Tail of the Dragon in North Carolina. So right on the corner there of the Carolinas. Has a very cool road. We had a Mazda event through there years ago, but yeah, can't go to that event unfortunately. GLI has got the more powerful engines, basically now using similar running gear to the GTI. It's an MQB-based platform. So yeah, if you were lamenting the fact there's no independent rear suspension in the Jetta, this is the car to get. My problem with the Jetta GLI has always been cost. It's not an inexpensive proposition. And in the GLI GTI wars, the GTI always wins because it's got the name and it's a very functional vehicle. So yeah, if you have to have a sedan, try the GLI, but the GTI would be the one that I'd pick, especially coming from a Countryman, a similar sort of shape. Hey Zach, should I buy a Honda Civic hatchback or the new Corolla hatchback? Well, if you drive manual, I would say that it's a bit of a split. There's no real difference there. If you drive automatic, then you're going to a CVT in both. However, the Corolla has the new CVT that has a mechanical first gear. So that first initial launch away from a traffic light or a stoplight, it's actually a mechanical connection. So there's no slippage for the CVT. So it gets you going, and then as soon as you get rolling, it slides out of the way, and then you go on to the CVT system, okay? That's the advantage of the Corolla, is you have that initial launch mechanical first gear, which does make a difference. I think that they're both good choices. I think that the Corolla hatch, in my opinion, is a better looking car. The advantage that Corolla has is Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is trickling into the Toyota family, and Android now has been announced is coming as well. However, is it reverse compatible? If the Android Auto is coming to Toyota products, are they going to be able to have it installed at the dealer? We'll have to wait and see. I suggest you drive them both. If it's manual, it's kind of a split. If it's CVT, I think the tie goes to Corolla. TC says, I'm looking at a 16 to 18 Audi S6. What are your thoughts on it? The car is at an Audi dealership, but I'm going to have it inspected at another dealer. Well, there you go. Someone who's listening and taking the advice. You want to do a Carfax. You want to do the pre-purchase inspection by an independent mechanic. So they will send the car over to the competing dealer. They'll do the pre-purchase inspection. You pay for it. You're the only one that sees that piece of paper. It's the best peace of mind, the best insurance you can get. It can give you some negotiating room if there's anything that needs to be fixed on the car. Also, you're going to also get the certified pre-owned warranty. Here's the thing. You could be aggressive on the price of that car because that mid-size luxury sedan space is really drying up. Everybody's running towards utility vehicles. So if they've got it listed, we'll pick a round number, $50,000, I think you could go in there and whittle them on the price, because an S6 is a rare car, but that size of car is not selling. So yeah, take that for what it is. It's a great car. You'll love driving it. I had an A7 of the same era. Wonderful car. Great handling. I like the MMI system. It's simple. It's easy to use. Yeah, a really nice car. So you're doing all the right things. How do Zach? How do YouTubers get chosen to participate in launch events by auto manufacturers? Well, that's a good question. Basically, it comes down to distribution, right? So and the brands have to know you. I have a long history working with the Canadian, because I'm in Canada, working with the Canadian brands, or the original, the OEMs, because I have been doing auto reviews since 1992, so a long time. So I know the people, and when I get invited, I do a television segment for the TV show I'm on. I do a YouTube segment for the YouTube channel. I do a radio interview for my radio show. And then I used to do newspapers as well, but that's all kind of dying off, the newspaper thing. I would write a column for a newspaper. So when they would invite me, they get a lot of coverage. So basically they look at coverage, and that's how it kind of works. And you know, some channels are more personality driven. There's some channels here in Canada where it's really about the people and not so much about the car. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm more about the car, and it's not really about me. I'm trying to inject some personality here and there, but that's really not my main thing. I'm a product guy. I like talking about the product, which is what we're doing here today. So that's kind of how it works. You have to have an outlet, substantial numbers, and for me, they get more than just YouTube when they invite me. Plus, I'm fun to hang out with at the bar. Chinmay, hey Zach, this is Chinmay from Toronto. I currently lease a 2017 Honda CR-V. Lease will be over next year. Do you recommend go electric vehicle or plug-in hybrids, or stick to the gas SUVs? Same thing again. If it was me, and your car is a 2017, just keep it. There's no rush. There is no rush to get any of these future technology cars. There's going to be more of them coming, and if anything, I would consider just a straight hybrid. So RAV4 makes a great hybrid. I saw when I was in Europe the CR-V hybrid, which isn't here yet, so that would be a great choice. I don't think it's going to be long now until, say, Toyota does a plug-in version of the RAV4, meaning it's a plug-in hybrid. You can get, say, 40, 50 kilometers of an electric range, and then it switches to their hybrid technology. That's where I would be leaning. So if you're in a gas CR-V now, and it's only 2 years old, keep it. If you're not going to keep it, then I would go to just a straight hybrid. 2019 Honda Pilot or 2019 Toyota Highlander? I'm a Highlander fan. Zach, me again, your opinion, 2.7 V6 turbo for Nautilus or 2-liter turbo for the RDX? My experience with the EcoBoost engines from Ford is that they can use a lot of gas. That's been my experience every single time I drive one of their cars. The technology is wonderful. That 3.5 liter in the F-150, my God, what a great engine. What a beautiful engine. It loves gasoline. If you're using the torque and put your toe into that turbo all the time, it sucks gas. So that's my only downside with that one. Yeah, I just can't get over the Nautilus interior. I just can't do it. So try them out. If you like it, go for it. I mean, people buy them, so you might be one of them. Excuse me. What are your thoughts on the panoramic roof? Do you like the split design like the Honda Pilot or the big glass roof? I'm not a moonroof, panoramic roof guy. I don't really like them. We have one in our car, but I never have it open. It's personal. What do you like? If you like the big glass panel, buy that. If you like the split one, get it. Bentayga V8 or Cayenne Turbo? That car is so ugly. The Bentley. I just can't get my head around it. Cayenne Turbo all day. Charlottetown Spud, good to have you here again. We know your favorite cars are Porsche, but do you have a brand you prefer for everyday drivers? Toyota, Honda, etc. Well, I have a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck, a little pickup truck. I've owned 2 Toyotas in the past. I've owned a lot of Volkswagens. I think 5 or 6 Volkswagens. I like Volkswagens. I like German cars. I like Toyotas. We had a Honda Accord years ago. That was a great car. We had a Dodge Colt, which was a Mitsubishi Mirage years ago. So yeah, there's lots of good stuff out there. If I just had my car, okay, this is it. If I didn't do what I do now, and I just wanted a car to drive around the city, I'd have a GTI. That's what I would have. Going to move 2000 Highlander SE as insurance is over the top. Thinking of a slightly used, so Golf, GTI, Mini, 4-door Clubman or Countryman, looking 30,000 and under for price and mileage. GTI wins again. Do you think an Acura, do you think, we talked about this, will MDX get updated like the RDX? Yes, eventually. Hi, Zach. What do you think of the 5 Series, my favorite car, and the best engine for it? Do you still have the Cayenne? Thanks. Yes, we have the Cayenne. I think that the, you know, what's called the Forte series now, the inline 6-cylinder with 335 or 340 horsepower is the engine. If you can afford the big gasoline using V8s, and if you drive them gently and cruise on the highway, they can be very efficient. But I think the perfect match for that car is the inline 6-cylinder. So that's the one that I would pick. And the 5 Series is a nice car. But then, you know, you can go all the way up to an M5 and you can go to the 550, but I think it's the 40 that would be the one that I would get. Do you think they'll bring the Golf R Estate in the next gen? I spoke to Thomas Tetzlaff about this, and they really want to bring it to Canada, but we'll have to wait and see. But if they, you know, it's not just saying, yeah, we're going to take it and bring it into the country. There's a whole lot more that goes into the decision to bring a car into the marketplace. I think they would like to. We'll have to wait and see, but there's nothing official, nothing official. When I asked where the sunglass compartment was during the delivery of my 330, he told me that they removed it based on customer demands and industry trends. Don't get how this could be. I never used the sunglass thing, ever. I'm really bad with my sunglasses. I just stick them in my pocket or I stick them in the cup holder. Gears will die because we're going electric. Well, we're not going electric just yet, friend. 99% of all cars sold in the world today are still internal combustion engines. I see this over and over. And, you know, I was at a Mercedes tech forum in Stuttgart a year, 2 years ago, speaking to the head of engine development for Mercedes-Benz. And this is the guy that is in charge of designing all of their internal combustion engines. He still sees a path forward for diesel engines. He still sees a long, long runway for internal combustion engines. 99% of all the cars sold in the world today are still internal combustion engines. We're talking worldwide. So when you go to certain neighborhoods or parts of the world where you see a lot of electric penetration, California, for example, some parts of Canada, and you see electric cars, you think, oh my God, everybody drives an electric car. No, 99% of people do not drive an electric car. And we are going to probably, by 2025, maybe move up to 3%. That still means that 97% of all vehicles sold are internal combustion engines. And by the way, we're talking about 100 million cars a year. So just do the math on that. We have a long runway ahead of us. Yes, we are going to be going electric. All roads lead towards electrification, whether it's plug-in hybrids, pure electrics, or hydrogen vehicles, but we're a long, long way from it going pure electric, friends. M. Gill, hi Zach, love your channel. Keep up the good work. Wanted to know your recommendation. Q3, XC40, X1. When will the new Q3 launch? New Q3 will be here before summer. They said the second quarter of 2019. So we're just about to start the second quarter on Thursday. So in the next 3 months, it should be coming. I'd take the X1 out of it. In my opinion, it's the race is between the Q3 and the XC40. In my opinion, those are the two best in that size. The XC40 has the turbo 2-liter, 250 horsepower, pretty much the same as the Q3. A lot of it comes down to interior fit and finish and refinement. They're both great choices, and I think the Q3 is going to be a monster for Audi. Do you think the next gen, and here's the thing is, if you're not in a rush, you can go drive a Volvo now, get that out of your system, take it for a test drive, and then when the Audi comes, you can test drive one of those. Do you think the next gen Civic will axe the coupe? Is it a dying breed? Yeah, sales of the coupe have not been strong. That could actually happen. In the market for a compact car, narrowed down between a 19 Corolla hatchback and 19 Mazda 3 Sport. Only concern is Toyota's new CVT with recall notice. Both drive well and fuel efficient, reliable. Your thoughts? If you're worried about a CVT, then you just answered your own question. Get a conventional automatic transmission, and Mazda makes that with their Skyactiv technology. However, Toyota, yes, there might be a recall. Recalls are common now because of all of the lawsuits and the problems that car companies had. What they used to cover with a technical service bulletin, meaning you go in for your oil change, they'll do a software update or what have you. A lot of that is now being covered off with recalls. Yeah, it's a first year for this new technology, granted. So you're answering your own question. If a CVT is hanging over your head, there are options. You don't have to buy a CVT. You can get a conventional automatic. What are your thoughts on Acura potentially bringing back the legendary nameplate, a second generation ZDX or ZDX? It was a terrible car, horrible car. I love Acura products, but that car was, it didn't make sense at all. They took an MDX and they chopped the roof off. The back seat, your head would hit the roof. The brakes were terrible on it. No, well, they might. I mean, there's all kinds of dumb things that happen in the car industry, but that, I hope, is not one of them. Hi, Zach. Have you seen the 2020 Kia Sportage? Those headlights look like they were stolen from a Porsche Macan. Do you have any idea for the release date? Oh, well, the Sportage has had that headlamp look for a while now. I mean, when did it come out? 3 years ago or something? They've had that look. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with you. The Sportage, when you squint and you see it from 100 paces, it looks a lot like a Porsche. Good for them. Release date, I don't know. Hi, Zach. Any reason why they can't bring a Lavore here to Canada? My guess undercuts the WRX sales. It's a cool car. It's an Impreza-based station wagon sold around the world. In Japan, we went to the STI tuning center in Japan with Subaru a couple of years ago and got to visit, and they had the WRX, they had the WRC rally cars, the winning rally cars sitting there. It was really cool to see that, and they had the car sitting there in the parking lot, and it's a cool car, but it's not the same buyer as a WRX. I just don't think so. I would like to see it here as well, but certification and all those sorts of things for different markets. In a market where wagons really aren't that popular, I don't see it coming. Hey, Zach, 21-year-old university student with a 2010 Accord Coupe, 4-cylinder, looking to upgrade my next car, a 15-16 Mustang EcoBoost Premium. Thoughts on the upgrade and reliability? Why would you get rid of an Accord Coupe? That's a cool car. They don't make those anymore. That's nice. That's a nice car. I remember I did a review of the Accord Coupe V6. And was it a manual? I'm trying to remember. It was so cool. It's like so old school. When I started reviewing cars in the 90s, I remember many times you'd get a Maxima V6 manual transmission. It was like awesome. Yeah, I don't know the condition of your Accord Coupe, but that is a nice car. The EcoBoost Mustang, yeah, that's a nice car as well. That's the 15 was the first year for the new body design in the independent rear suspension. Back to my thoughts about EcoBoost engines. Wonderful technology. In my opinion, they suck a lot of gas. You know, if you're not in a rush, that Accord's a nice car. Live in Ontario, so will winter tires be enough to survive the snow and ice? Yes. Good winter tires. Don't buy cheap tires. Go with the reputable brands. Brands you know, because they do the research and development. Zach, love your shows. Looking for a new car in a year or two, debating between the Corolla hatch and the Kia Forte hatch. Any thoughts? Well, the Forte hatch is basically the same as the Elantra GT. You know, same engines and what have you. No independent rear suspension in the Forte unless you get the top trim, from what I believe. Yeah, it's a trailing arm torsion beam style. So the Corolla hatch, in my opinion, wins because it's got the independent rear suspension. And if you're planning on getting a manual, the Corolla hatch is actually pretty nice. So yeah, go out and drive them both and see which one you like. Now, keep that in mind that unless you get the GT, it's not independent rear suspension. Hey, Zach, is your driving TV show off the air? Is Lacey no longer on the show? Love your channel. Yes, yes, yes. Everything's fine. The TV show's on every Saturday morning on Global across the country, and Lacey's on the show. Yes, we're still here. Model Y starts somewhat reasonable compared to the Model S and Model X. Well, yeah, the Model Y is going to be cheaper, but I think from what we're hearing, it's going to start in the Canadian market at about 60 grand. That's not cheap. King, hey Zach, big fan of your channel. Good job. What do you think the 2016 VW Touareg Diesel? Well, I love it because I have a 2016 Cayenne Diesel. Same engine, same platform. One's developed by Volkswagen, the other one by Porsche. So you have to do a couple of things. find out if it's had the update done to it and drive it and see, because there have been reports some people are unhappy with the fix and don't like the drivability. Now, there are things like Motune. You can get the diesel tune, but then it could negate any extended warranty you're going to get. The one thing about that is you're going to get a very long warranty on that vehicle for a lot of components to do with emissions, fuel injectors, the fuel lines, the diesel pump, the fuel pump, all those sorts of things are going to be extended under a very long warranty. It's a great product. The engine is a champ. Drive it before you buy it, because there have been stories that people are unhappy with the fix. Ours was brand new when we got it. So the updates done to it were done when the car was brand new. So it drives perfectly fine. The all-new RAV4 is pretty expensive, is more expensive than the predecessor. What is the sweet spot model? The sweet spot model is the one you can afford. That's what it comes down to. If you can afford, you know, a lot of people go like for the first, I think it's the LE, all-wheel drive. For resale value, I wouldn't get a front-wheel drive RAV4, because people have been brainwashed to think that they need all-wheel drive, even though they don't. But that's what the market is demanding. That's what we're seeing in premium cars like Volvo coming out with a front-wheel drive S60. No one's going to buy that. Everybody wants all-wheel drive. So if you're going to buy one, I would go, and if it's a price point sensitive, go for like the base model with all-wheel drive, and maybe it has a convenience package or something like that to treat yourself to maybe a few extra things. Khaled says, I drive 2017 MX-5 RF. My daily commute jumped from 15 to 50 minutes each way. My muscles are aching from the seating position. What do you suggest for $35,000 US dollars new that's comfortable but fun? Well, you know, MX-5 is a fantastic car. I can understand, though, that having a car that small and it can be a little fatiguing. I would say that's fun. Oh, I'll have to think about that. You know, people can jump in and give their suggestions as well. I think that for a 50 minutes each way, I'm a big fan of the GTI. I really am. I think that's a great car. And in the United States, with that, with your dollar, you might be able to get a Golf R for that kind of money. So consider that. Excuse me. Excuse me. Although not confirmed for North America, do you think Mazda is making a mistake with the CX-30 naming? Shouldn't they use the CX-4 name, given the name is it's the name is being used for one of their Chinese models? From what I understand, they're not allowed to use CX-4 for some reason, which is why they came out with the CX-30. My prediction, I could be totally wrong on this. So the CX-30 was shown in Geneva a week or so ago. It's bigger than the CX-3 and smaller than the CX-5. In my opinion, the CX-3 is wrong size for this market. It's too small. It's basically a subcompact hatchback. So I would almost think that they bring this car to market in North America as the CX-3, and then that car goes away. That's my prediction. I heard rumors about the naming. They don't have rights to use CX-4 in maybe outside of China, so that's maybe why they're doing it that way. What's the best time of year to buy a car? The best time of year to buy a car is the end of a calendar year or the beginning of a calendar year. So you could now actually be going out there and looking for 2018 models. Here we are in March, 2.5 months into the year. There are dealers that still have 2018 models that are brand new sitting on the lot. Those vehicles will have incentives on the hood and from the dealer and reduced interest rates, all those things, which leads me nicely into Car Cost Canada. You go and you sign up. The first search is free. Say you're looking for a 2018 Mazda CX-5. We'll pick that. We're just talking about Mazda. And there might be some 18s sitting on the lot somewhere. And this sometimes can be advantageous to actually find it in an area where you don't live. It might be, you know, 1,000 kilometers away. Well, they can get it to you. They can put it on a truck or they can ship it or whatever. But sometimes you get a great deal. So go on there and find out if there's any extra interest rates, any extra rebates from the manufacturer. There's hidden rebates you get on there as well. And then when you get all of that, it doesn't stop you from asking the dealer for a deal as well. So yeah, end of a calendar year, beginning of a calendar year, typically. And when a brand new model is coming in For example, if there are any existing RAV4s from 2018 that are on dealers' lots, probably not that many around, but those ones you might be able to get a deal on. Hey Zach, I've got an '08 Ford Edge with almost 300,000 kilometers. Canadian Black Book values it at 0 retail and wholesale. Plus it has issues with the transmission. How do I get rid of it? Thanks. My best advice would is to go in and take it in as a trade. You know, sometimes there are, you see them advertised where we'll give you X number of dollars, doesn't matter whether whatever the trade is worth. You can try and sell it privately for a couple $1,000 if someone will buy it from you. But yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of miles on it. You've got known issues. I would just take it on trade and see what you can get for it. You could send it to auction as well. That's another thing you could do, is you could put it in, for example, Odessa here in British Columbia has an auction that's open to the public. You could try that as well. But yeah, auction or just trading it in and take your lumps. The car owes you nothing. I'm shopping for my next car or SUV. Budget is 28 to 30 Canadian. I'm looking for a hybrid. Any recommendations? So SUVs, not really going to get that many. I would say $28,000 to $30,000. I would say a good car would be a Prius. I mean, a Prius is a very functional car. You can get them at that price point. Maybe it's a slightly used one. You can get the Prius C, which is going to be discontinued. For sure you can get that. If you're looking for a hybrid vehicle, that's kind of where I would shop. I mean, Toyota, I slipped the tongue there. Toyota is synonymous with hybrid, so that's where I would look. And I think that Prius C is a great little city runabout. If you need something bigger, then the bigger Prii might be the way to go. I just realized I've been prattling on here for an hour. So once again, next weekend, I'm away spring break with the family. The following Sunday, I'm in Germany, or on my way to Germany with Mercedes-Benz. And then I'll be back for a couple of weeks before I go to China. So 2 weeks in a row, there will be no show. So thanks to everybody that tuned in. I've coughed, I've sneezed, I've done pretty much all on this show. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Have a great week. Enjoy. And if you're in the Vancouver area, make sure to head down to the auto show. Starts on Tuesday afternoon and runs through until Sunday. Beautiful location, great weather this week, and we'll see you down there. Bye now, everybody. Have a great week.